For those of you who watch our channel, you know I do a lot of rock and metal. I do classic rock. I do some grunge, new releases, thrash metal, those types of genres. I don't do a lot of punk rock, so I don't know a lot of it about punk rock. And this band, I'm not really super familiar with them. I know the name. So it's kind of like the first time listening to them. So this review is going to be kind of from the point of view of like an old school metalhead like myself. So with that being said, let's get into it. So Tomorrow Never Comes is their 10th studio album, released on June 2nd, 2023. This is their first album in 6 years. Their last album was called Troublemaker in 2017, and it was their longest gap between studio albums. It was produced by Brett Gurewitz. He was the founder of Epitaph Records and also the guitarist of Bad Religion. So the album has 16 tracks. It's their shortest album to date. It's 28 minutes, 47 seconds. The album received positive reviews from critics, and I'll be talking about that in more detail later on. So I'll just give a quick background. Rancid, they are an American punk rock band. They formed in 1991, formed by Tim Armstrong and Matt Friedman. And they were former members of the ska punk band Operation Ivy. They kind of like were part of that mid-90s like punk revival. I was kind of into that back then. I listened to like Green Day and The Offspring a lot, but other than those, I didn't really listen to a lot of punk. But this is a band, they have a big influence of like British punk rock. Specifically like The Clash and Cock Sparrer, a band I don't know, but that's what I found. And they have 10 studio albums. They have a split compilation, 2 EPs, and a couple of like live albums. Couple songs that they are popular for, Ruby Soho, Time Bomb, Salvation, Devil in Disguise. So let's talk more about these. As you would expect, these songs are about topics such as civil rights, violence, hate, survival, rebellion, and resistance. So a couple examples, Tomorrow Never Comes. It's about living in the moment and not caring about the consequences of your actions. Devil in Disguise is about being betrayed by someone who pretended to be a friend. Don't Make Me Do It is about being pushed to the edge, ready to snap. And Prisoner Song is about being locked up and longing for freedom. And When the Smoke Clears is about facing the aftermath of a war. So the critics have been saying mostly positive things. They praise its energy, catchiness, and punk spirit. They appreciate the band's skills, longevity, and influences. So Kerrang, they gave the album 4 out of 5, and they said, and I quote, more of a delight than it really has any right to be, and a non-stop celebration of all that makes them so great. Glide magazine said the album explodes right out of the gate, and the band is out to prove something across the 16 tracks here. Louder Than War said the album was a rocket-fueled riot of a record, and Rancid show that they still have what it takes to rip the world a new one. So that's what the critics said. So let's talk about this. Okay, so here's a part of the video where I usually go through the tracks. I'll talk about them quickly. There are 16 songs, and these songs are just 2 minutes long, or some are like a minute and a half. And so it's really not much going on in each song. It's just every song is pretty much quick to the point. So I'm gonna just like kind of like run through this. Tomorrow Never Comes is very fast-paced and energetic. It's catchy, has gang vocals. Mud, Blood, and Gold kind of sounds like heavy metal at first, but then comes that classic punk, lots of energy, lyrics about street life. Devil in Disguise, more of that 70s punk sound. Kind of thinking about like drinking bar and a beer, and that didn't really make sense what I just said, but drinking beer in a bar, you know what I mean. New American had more of an upbeat tone and a brighter sound. The Bloody and Violent History, that's more of an upbeat, a drum beat with fun lyrics, telling a story. It's about rebellion. Don't Make Me Do It kind of sounds like classic punk rock, has a faster beat and repetitive lyrics. It's a Road to Righteousness that has more of this classic UK punk sound, similar to like the Clash in the 70s, Live Forever. Another energetic song where the lyrics are sung at a faster pace. Pretty nice drum beat in that one. Drop that in. Has some more melodic rhythms, loud guitars, raw vocals, just garage punk type of song. Prisoner song is energetic about being in prison. I mentioned this one before. This one, another one, reminded me of the Clash in the UK punk scene. Had that late 70s, early 80s feel. Magnificent Rogue, it's energetic, has some angst and attitude. Sounds like some of their earlier songs. One Way Ticket, it's just one of the punk songs. Sounds like a bunch of drunk guys in a bar singing. That's really all I have to say. Hellbound Train is an energetic song reminding me of the Clash. It's a fun punk rock song with gang vocals and garage punk feel. Eddie the Butcher, that's like a fun song. It has like these different vocal styles. And telling the story about this guy, Eddie the Butcher. I don't really know the whole story, but it seems like some kind of cool character from a story. And it's one of the catchier songs. Hear Us Out, straightforward old punk rock. That old school punk rock. They sing in like a lower range, have the gang vocals and some pretty cool punk rock energy. And When the Smoke Clears, it's a melodic guitar riff in the intro, but then it has the classic sound, as with all the songs on the album. And that's it. Let me go into my final thoughts. So, like I said, I'm not the biggest punk rock guy, but it's a fun album. It's 30 minutes long. You got all the short songs. It's kind of like the punk rock equivalent of like a grindcore album. It's just straight and to the point. It gives you what you want. They're not like doing different stuff. They're not doing any like reggae or ska like some other punk bands. They like to kind of experiment and do different styles. This is just straightforward. It's all punk. It's fast. It's heavy, and it just has the attitude. It has everything you would expect from this type of band. So I thought it was pretty cool. It's just a fun. I think it's 30 minutes. I think this would be a good album to take with you to the gym and just like if you just want like 30 minutes of like hard rocking and just attitude and punk. I think it's pretty good. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. How does this compare to other Rancid albums, if you're more familiar with them? And that is all. Please like this video. It helps me with the algorithm. Please comment. I like to respond to comments, and plus I like to hear feedback, especially on bands I don't know that much about. And subscribe if you haven't, and anything else. I'm going to put another video right here, something related. I haven't done a lot of punk, but maybe I'll put something like The Descendants or something like that. So that is all. I'll see you in the next one.